2018 Fiat 500c Review. The good points of Fiat 500c. Appealing retro looks. Easy Taos electric roof. Eye-catching color schemes. Economical engines. The bad points of Fiat 500c. Roof down rear visibility. Lacks rear seat space. Boot around the small side too. Odd driving position. Arriving per year after its hatchback stablemate, the Fiat 500c, the C is perfect for convertible, is really a strong selling mainstay from the popular city car range, offering oxygen fun for its electrically operated roof. It's not just a full convertible as is possible seen Citroën, in which the body panels mirror that surrounding the conventional three-door version. To put it differently, it doesn't feel completely open when you've got the roof retracted. As a small, urban-centric runabout, it offers no direct rivals. Its closest competitors, the DS3 Cabrio and Mini convertible, are superminis as an alternative to city car-sized. Even though the Citroën C1 Airscape, Peugeot 108 Top, Toyota Gilfinroof and Vauxhall Atom-Rox Air's fabric tops are essentially full-length sunroofs, with ordinary tailgates in it. How does the Fiat 500c's roof work? Most obvious of differences between your 500 hatchback and 500c is your roof, using a design that harks back in the fabric sunroof within the 1950s original. Using the identical body sides as being the hatchback shows that the 500c retains most of its structural integrity, whilst almost identical interior dimensions, to put it differently, a cozy space for 4 adults. Fully electric operational, your roof concertina is up to and including first stage just behind the back seats, but pressing the button again retracts it completely. The glass screen flops forwards to nap on top with the boot's parcel shelf, together with the top portion of your roof folding up on top. It's a simple yet clever solution, but because doing so doesn't fold completely away from sight within cover, rearward visibility is hampered. And, as discussed inside the comfort section, the fully retracted softtop packs beam an air scoop at speed, filling the passenger compartment with blustery, cool air the heating system struggles to counter. What engines does the Fiat 500c have? Over the course with the 500c's life cycle, both 1.3-liter multi-jet diesel and 1.4-liter petrol engines came and gone, leaving a very restricted collection of motors from 2018 onwards. Most popular could be the 4-cylinder 1.2-liter non-turbo petrol, producing the respectable 69 horsepower. Even so, the more interesting choice would be the 0.9-liter turbocharged twin-air pair. These dual-cylinder power plants employ a deliciously offbeat soundtrack, make a swarm of seriously peeved wasps held in a metal bucket, and luxuriate in being revved. The lower-powered version musters 85 horsepower, the lustier one 105 horsepower. Be aware that this 500c's engines are for city use, but not to be tiresomely noisy on longer motorway slogs, so think carefully the roads you often drive on. Manual gearboxes are standard, even so the dual-logic automated transmission is available together with the low-output 500cs. It's less sophisticated than the usual conventional automatic, meaning the gear changes aren't especially smooth. If you wish your 500c with even zestier performance, then head along the Fiat showroom floor and look at the harder powerful Abarth 595 convertible and 695 convertible instead. Mild updates and keep the Fiat 500c fresh. Fiat first nipped and tucked the 500c in 2014, installed with additional seat upholsteries and also a digital display inside instrument binnacle. This was a precursor into a more substantial suite of updates in 2015. Along with tweaked engines to abide by more stringent emissions standards, there have been minor styling revisions including modified grille designs. LED air unning has lights front and trapezoidal-shaped LED tail lights, which has a body-colored center section. Although frequently peppered by appealing limited editions, the normal 500c lineup of specifications is pretty constrained. In tray-level pop, the other run-up Popstar are exclusively available together with the 1.2-liter engine, while all powertrain permutations can be found in combination together with the more luxurious lounge and sportier rest trim levels. The verdict. In some regards, weighed against newer city car rivals, the Fiat 500c is starting to feel somewhat from the pace, and that is hardly surprising given it's almost several old. However, its charm in spades and, because it's got no direct rivals within the tiny four-seater convertible market, it's effectively your sole choice. It's not without its flaws, however if you can deal with them you'll enjoy your time together with the 500c, even when it isn't notably good fun driving automobile. Watch on for full Fiat 500c review. Trio of petrol engines to select from. Diesels dropped again in 2018. Fast models wear Abarth badges. A small amount of engines attended and gone inside 500c's life cycle, but from 2018 it became petrol-only, all sized between 0.9 and 1.2 liters. Economical Fiat 500c petrol engines. Despite being the most important capacity petrol engine inside 500c range, the four-cylinder 1.2-liter motor could be the least powerful on the trio of alternatives. Mustering just 69 horsepower and 102 Nm of torque, performance is pretty sedate. This isn't a problem from the city, but expect so that it is slow to produce to broad and motorway speeds. Once nearly 70 miles per hour, it pootles along satisfactorily, but is a little noisy at higher revs. A sixth gear would help here. Unfortunately, that's not an option. Two 5-speed transmissions can be purchased, a manual and also a dual-logic automated gearbox, in the two cars are lending the 500c identical performance statistics. Top speed is quoted at 99 miles per hour, as the 0.62 miles per hour acceleration yardstick requires 12.9 seconds to perform. Next up would be the first on the dual-cylinder 0.9-liter twin-air engines, the smallest capacity engine currently sold within the UK at 875cc. It's turbocharged to be able to pep up its power, requiring higher revs to extract the most from its performance. Depending on your sense of perspective, the accompanying soundtrack is either sonorously characterful or grating. In any case, it's not too efficient when worked hard. The same gearboxes feature here as while using 1.2-liter, but 85 horsepower and 145 Nm of torque. It's usefully quicker. Top speed is 107 miles per hour, with the 11.0-second 0.62 miles per hour time. Topping the Fiat 500c range performance-wise, do not forget that even faster versions are available because Abarth 595 and 695 convertibles is usually a 105 horsepower version from the twin-air. Torque output remains unchanged at 145 Nm, but sole 6-speed manual gearbox enables drivers to eke more urgency through the 500c. A 10.0-second 0.62 miles per hour time plus a 117 miles per hour top speed. Fiat 500c engines not available. Buyers of older 500cs might run into petrol models powered using a 100 horsepower 1.4-liter, developing 132 Nm of torque. Its top speed was 113 miles per hour. having a 0.62 miles per hour duration of 10.5 seconds, but following introduction of the greater economical, in accordance with official tests, twin air, the 1.4 was discontinued. Two different diesels, both called 1.3-liter multi-jets, have featured within the 500c, too. The first produced 75 horsepower and 145 horsepower, the harder recent edition, discontinued in 2018, was last year with 95 horsepower and 200 Nm of torque. Light controls, easy they are driving around town. Agile through bends, and not particularly fun. Loss of roof hasn't negatively impacted handling. If you're hoping the Fiat 500c will handle with just one aplomb with a mini convertible, but also for a fraction with the cost, then prepare being disappointed. It doesn't. Where the 500c's strengths lie have been in urban environs, the place that the little soft-top is really a doddle to weave in and outside of traffic, together with being a cinch to park given its diminutiveness. A large steering wheel as well as a city function to help assist the steering are pretty straightforward, but effective driver helps with this regard. Nevertheless, that in-town agility is replicated on winding broads, with thanks to the Fiat's short wheelbase and its particular wheel-edge corner stance, even though former point includes a negative influence on comfort. While you are able to watch it through bends neatly once you've established sufficient speed, there's little regarding the 500c's controls that communicate to your driver about traction or braking feel, even though steering does weight up progressively in corners. It just lacks much inside the way of fun. The outlook isn't gloomy, though. Then one particular highlight is that this 500c's handling isn't inferior to its hatchback sibling, despite lacking a compelling roof. That's considering that the body side shared while using hatch profit the Fiat maintain its rigidity without resorting to additional strengthening braces. Dashboard is just as distinctive as being the bodywork. All controls within easy reach and feel robust. Plastics and build quality are fine as of this price. Sat behind the 500c's oversized tire, you couldn't be inside another car apart from Fiat's smallest model. It's proof positive that city car interiors needn't be joyless, monochromatic affairs, furnished with surfaces that you just try your hardest to not come into contact with. Sure, the 500c's cabin isn't graced with expensive, squidgy soft-touch plastics, but there's been careful thought into your design and contrasting colors making it feel special. All on the switchgear is distributed to other Fiats, even though they don't come from the off-white finish that hallmarks many 500c's. It's very straightforward and very easy to use, although optional. Uconnect multimedia touchscreen is fiddly from its small graphics. That theme continues together with the instrument binnacle itself. A fully digital arrangement continues to be optional since 2015. This has small fonts. One niggling gripe relates on the indicator stalk. Theoretically it should be very easy to nudge it down and down for the trio of flashes from the indicators. Playing with our expertise in a number of 500 derivatives, it rarely works, requiring the stalk to become switched fully to right or left for the lights for being activated. Hardly a deal breaker, admittedly, but an annoyance all exactly the same. Few will discover the drive-in position ideal, either. Annoyingly, the tire only adjusts for height, instead of distance towards the driver. That makes taller drivers believe that it's a stretch. Models fitted which has a height adjustable seat, lounge and S have this as standard, are unlikely to locate Fiat's solution particularly satisfying. Unlike rival systems that raise or lower your entire seat frame, only the back of the 500c's cushion drops, developing a gap between it as well as the seat back. As covered from the comfort section, this may create issues when the cover's retracted. air scooped into cabin when roof retracted. Ride thinks tiresome on longer journeys. Lots of engine noise at higher speeds. In most regards improved characteristics, and drawbacks, provided by the Fiat 500c mirror that's surrounding its hatchback counterpart, to put it differently, better at lower speeds and if the road surface is smooth. You can assist yourself out here by avoiding the largest with the wheel sizes available within the 500c. Entry-level Pop designs have 14-inch steel wheels as standard, but Pop Star, Lounge and S versions have 15-inch alloys as part of their kit lists. That's as huge as we'd recommend opting for, avoiding the optional 16-inchers, or a larger rim suited to a Barth-badged 595 and 695 convertible derivatives. Of course, the Fiat's relatively short wheelbase, which helps with its agility, plays an adverse role with regard to ride comfort, particularly at higher speeds and also over undulating surfaces. Naturally, it is less pronounced at slower, urban speeds provided the street surfaces are smooth. Taller drivers in particular may find the 500c's driving position unorthodox at best, and uncomfortable at worst. Sliding the seat back for sufficient legroom is okay. It also highlights the fact how the large leader only adjusts for height, rather than for closeness towards the driver. Similarly, the ones from above average height will almost certainly want to lower the seat, a normal feature on Lounge and S models, but as previously highlighted, this function merely tilts a corner end on the cushion downwards and the seat frame. Your mind's further away from the rooftop, but there's a letterbox-shaped gap with the base of the seat. Fiat 500c uncomfortable with the rooftop open. Roof closed, understanding that seat slot causes no dramas. Overall, the cabin remains admirably quiet at lower speeds if your engines aren't being worked as hard when the information presented top was in situ, and the heat manages and keep the space sufficiently warm. The situation's less rosy when the cover's retracted completely back, though. First and foremost, the 500c's heating feels simply too feeble, even ramped as much as its highest temperature and fan speed. Compounding the catch is that cold, external air is scooped in the cabin through the concertinaed roof, forcing it for the back out the top seats, and then for taller drivers, into that gap where their small of the back is exposed. Passengers consigned to the trunk who alwachi possess a lack of legroom to handle will bear the brunt on the wind buffeting. Closing the top up merely highlights how little headroom there is made for taller adults, too. It's definitely a back seat that's best accessible to younger kids. As you'd expect, there's some wind noise across the opening when the rooftop's retracted, too. Nevertheless, it's not loud enough to disrupt a conversation held at normal volume, although a trip over the Fiat's Bluetooth connection is less likely to become successful. 4 standard trim levels to pick from. Limited editions frequently appear. Careful not in order to develop the cost of options. Getting your mind around the normal Fiat 500c trim hierarchy is not difficult enough, but be aware at virtually any moment there's often one, or even more, special edition alternatives to select from. Consult the model history to view as and once they were introduced. Standard Fiat 500c equipment. Starting point for 500c ownership would be the Pop trim level, but due to the relative paucity of their equipment, it's not merely one we would recommend. Electrically operated roof. Electric front windows. Electric door mirrors. Remote central locking. LED daytime running lights. 14-inch steel wheels with full-width trims. Radio. Chroma-look exterior door handles. Upgrading with a Pop Star version adds this kit. Heated door mirrors. 15-inch alloy wheels. Aircon. 50:50 split rear seat. Move approximately lounge specification for just a more appealing variety of niceties. Front fog lights. Rear parking sensors. Additional exterior chrome decor. 5.0-inch multimedia touchscreen with DAB radio and Bluetooth connectivity. Cruise control. Height adjustable driver's seat. Rear seat headrests. Lending a sportier air could be the S, which builds upon the lounge trim with darkened rear privacy glass. Specific body kit and chrome exhaust tip. 15-inch satin finish alloy wheels. Front sports seats. Leather-wrapped sports controls. 7.0-inch multimedia touchscreen. Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. Optional Fiat 500c extras. Fiat provides an impressively broad variety of extra-cost options for that 500c, a lot of to list here, but doesn't offer many bundle packages of popular items inside manner a number of other manufacturers do. Among the main element extras on offer are special pastel, metallic and tricot finishes, body stripes and stick-on graphics, 15 and 16-inch alloy wheels, a full leather interior, a wider array of chrome details for your exterior, Bixenon headlamps, automatic lights and wipers, a wind halt to reduce buffeting, nonetheless it makes the trunk seat unusable, a space-saver spare wheel. For those trying to find value for money bundles, you're on this trio. Style pack, chrome bonnet trim, body-colored side rubbing strips and dark-tinted rear privacy glass. Tech pack, 7.0-inch multimedia touchscreen, DAB radio, Bluetooth connectivity, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, rear speakers along with a 7.0-inch digital instrument panel. Tech nav pack, depending on the tech pack using the addition of 3D sat-nav. Downgraded 3-star Euro NCAP rating. Lacks autonomous emergency braking. All 500cs have 7 airbags as standard. Despite originally scoring a 5-star crash test rating from Euro NCAP when sampled like a closely related 500 hatchback, the score was downgraded to a few stars in 2017 if this was retested. It's a representation of how much safety technology has improved above the course from the 500c's life cycle, highlighted using a lack of kit which simply isn't available inside the Fiat. 7 airbags are standard features over the 500c range, as they are electronic stability software and traction control and lowering wheel spin, but that's about this. Automatic emergency braking? Not available. Lane keeping functions? Nope. Blind spot warnings? Not a chance. Even automatic lights and wipers are optional through the range. How many ICE fix points does the Fiat 500c have? As the 500c is often a strict 4-seater, there's no middle seatbelt within the rear bench. It's not the roomiest of cars for 4 adults, but some ICE-fix mounted child seats will almost squeeze inside, although access isn't particularly easy. Very small rear seats are cramped for adults. High-mounted front seats, but roomy enough. Small boot, with awkward access on 500c. Its diminutive dimensions confirm which the Fiat 500c is often a dinky city car, that will only accommodate 4 adult passengers in a squeeze. In reality, most of the people who are a minimum of in their teens will find it difficult to fit comfortably inside the back. Best reserve those benches for smaller kids, who are also less likely for being troubled by accessing the spine bench. Rapidly side doors opening wide, one still needs to get as flexible as being a gymnast to get from the back with any penetration of grace intact. Up front there's a decent amount of space, in spite of the upright seating position. Storage for things is okay, having a glove box and decently sized door bins. Other cubbies are way too small, or oddly shaped. What happens they might have already been designed for. Fiat increased the depth with the cup holders as part with the 2015 facelift, but having said that they remain shallower than you are on other cars. Brisk cornering could still produce a lower legs and latte macchiato interface. As one from the smallest four-seater cars for sale, the Fiat 500c ought to be a doddle to park in tight spots. Despite being small, there's a sizable area of glass, making it simple to see beyond. With the top up, a corner window isn't significantly smaller compared to that on the 500 hatchback, but lower it fully and rearward visibility is fixed. Usefully, Lounge and S specification cars include rear parking sensors as standard, but there's no reversing camera or self-parking option. The transition to your convertible body with the Fiat 500c compared with all the 500 hatchbacks sees a 3.0-liter reduction within the size of that boot volume, capping it with a modest 182 liters when all four seats are occupied. Officially, Fiat doesn't quote a figure to the available luggage space if the seats are folded over, but it really safe to visualize it can cope using a similar 550-liter capacity for the hatchback. All 500cs have a very folding rear seat, split 50 hours 50 minutes on Popstar models and above, but access through it into the spine of the passenger cabin isn't quite as generous as within the hatch. Unsurprisingly, accessing the boot for the 500c isn't as convenient as on its hatchback twin anyway. Whereas the latter incorporates a roof-to-bumper height tailgate, the first kind just incorporates a toughened boot lid, rendering it awkward to load in items by way of a relatively narrow slot.